I got the cash in the bag, stadium packed. Born a rock star in this life, gonna live it up on the attack. Baby, I'm bad. I just wanna get caught up in this life. I'm crazy, I'm mad. Doing no cap. Only God wants you, better go live it up. Cash in the bag, stadium packed. Baby, I'm bad.
Yeah.
Baby, I'm bad.
I just wanna stay bad, stay mad. Chip on my shoulder cause they treat me like an outcast. I ain't gonna take that, stay back. I'll be swinging hard till the hits come in all caps. I ain't gonna lay back, pray that someone's gonna help me. Ain't nobody like that. I ain't gonna wait, that's all fact. Give me one shot and I'll never get the throne back. I'm sick of being cautious. I'ma go cause something, can't stop this. I'ma steal everybody's lane, call it shoplift. Sick of hearing everyone complain when they thoughtless. Taste the pain, it's like candy canes. It makes me go change into a better frame, into a better name. Society's insane, we all live for fame. Yeah. Cash in the bag, stadium.
A heavy metal band raps a different way. They like to be different in every way.
Mike,
Bring the noise. Bring the noise.
the interview's on. Our interview's on.
No,
What's this? What is it?
I'm Anthrax. You said we're interviewing Anthrax, right?
Last time you had your Walkman. What is this?
I
thing?
found this in the garbage. It's a portable CD player. You made fun of my Walkman.
Yeah.
I
you gotta
found
get with the
this in
times.
the garbage.
You gotta get with the times, Mike. What is that?
It's a CD player, and it can
Don't
play
you have
music.
it?
I went to the library and rented with my library card an Anthrax album. Could you believe they had it there?
Mike, what are you doing renting an Anthrax album? What is this? Mike, you gotta let me help you. You gotta give me your phone, and I'm gonna put the whole Anthrax discology on your phone.
And you can do that?
Yeah, I could do that.
Oh, okay, great. All right, here.
What the hell is?
Can you do it on this one?
What is it?
It's my new flip phone.
Is this why you haven't been getting my? Is this why you haven't been messaging?
That's
me
my new
my
phone.
text
That's-
messages. Is this why you don't sell my?
Yeah, I don't get your texts on
Ah, no wonder. Look at this, guys. What year are we living in, Mike?
2023. All right. Well, I need your help. That's why I don't do the technology stuff in here. All right.
We have Anthrax here today.
I know my favorite band. I know.
No, not the band. We had the death match of becoming superstar Anthrax.
Oh, that's
the
good.
motherfucking suplex machine.
Oh, I'm okay with that. That's
former undiscovered champion Anthrax. Thank you for joining us today.
good. Okay, that's cool. That's good. Yeah,
No problem. No problem.
matches on every week on IWTV.
No one is safe. Anthrax in the building. What's going on? How's everything going over there?
It's going. I'm preparing for Sunday. Sunday's going to be a big day.
Oh, that big three-way, no-ring deathmatch three-way with Christian Ross.
Yeah.
Oh, great.
It's the tournament. Yeah, it's going to be a tournament. It's our second one. It's going to be pretty brutal.
It's going to be a good one. What's anything we could expect from that match? Or that
Violence and blood.
A lot of Luthez catch can submissions and maybe like an arm bar for like maybe 3 or 4 minutes at a time.
Absolutely, right? Absolutely.
Just for you, I'm gonna bring out an armbar, anything. I'm gonna technical wrestle somebody on the concrete floor. Never been done.
That's gonna be great. That's gonna be great. So the question we always ask everyone: how did you get into wrestling? What got you? What was your first? When you think about wrestling, what's the first thing that comes to mind?
Well, my first actual memory of being a wrestling fan was watching WrestleMania 9 with my father. Not the best WrestleMania, but I at the time, I was young. I was a Hogan mark. That's what it is. That was my first taste into wrestling, and we would always watch videotapes and stuff together. And then it evolved from there. Then I started, getting into ECW, and then after that, I was, I still watched WWE, WWF, but
Yep.
yeah. But then I discovered CZW, and I was like, oh shit, WGTW Channel 48.
Oh,
That's the one.
Oh man, that must have been 2002.
2001, 2002, yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. I was going to shows back then.
Yeah, I was probably like 16 or 17 at the time.
Okay, cool. Oh, well, when was your first live show?
Actually, my first, I would go to the house shows and stuff, like the WWF house shows and stuff like that. My actual first CZW show was when they were in Voorhees. I think it was Callahan and Drake Younger in the Iron Man match.
Oh yeah. I gave Drake. I had the poster from out in the street. They had those posters. I snagged one, and I gave it to Drake when he was in NXT. He's got it in his garage. If you watch the Drake Younger interview we did, you can see the poster right in the back.
Oh,
That's his favorite
that's
match.
awesome.
Funny thing, let me tell him about it, because since that was your first show and you were blown away with it, right?
Yeah, I was blown away with it, and it just spiraled from there. Like, I think my second show, it might have been my second or third show was what actually, because I wanted to do the hardcore and the deathmatch wrestling, and I've told him this now. I said what actually drove me to actually want to do this was when I saw Matt and DJ in the Tangled Web,
Oh,
like live and in person. Like that was like from there it was like shit. I love this. Like I want to do this, like for real.
Oh wow.
that Drake match was good. That's his favorite match.
Is it? It was phenomenal. Like
Yeah, it was fun.
they didn't do anything like too crazy, like nothing like too deathmatchy, but it was still like they told like such a great story.
Yes,
It was great.
Yeah. I didn't know he sees everything.
So you said that match is what that was the point where you were like, I have to be a wrestler between the Tangled Web between
Matt versus DJ was like I wanted to be a wrestler. I wanted to do the hardcore stuff. Like I always had it like inside me. When I saw that match live and saw the crowd reaction and saw the way Matt just captivated the crowd, I was like, I want to do this style. Like this is what I want. Like I was always fascinated, like I said, with CZW and the violence and the gore and the stuff like that. I was always fascinated with that. But when I saw that, I was like, damn, this is awesome.
Wow. Now, had you done any training up to that point, or no? You didn't do it. You were just a fan.
Up to that point, no. But it's funny because maybe a year after that, I actually started training in the CZW school.
Oh.
Yeah, with at the time it was so long ago. But it's so funny to think about that. Connor Claxton and Frankie Picard were still students at the time.
Oh.
Like
Wow.
me and Connor worked the rails at TOD together. It was crazy, but like real life happened and I had to step back and stuff like that. I've been training on and off for a while. Like I was training at CZW. I trained at this company, New Moon Rising. I trained with Joe Gacy. It just all like real life shit, it just happened. But then I actually gave it like nothing was going on. I was like, I'm gonna fucking do this, and that's when I went to H2O, and the rest, I guess, is history now.
Oh, wow. Everybody's come out through HBO. HBO is like legendary now in indie wrestling, in my book. It's unbelievable.
Can you walk us through your first day at the CCW school going into it? Like, what was going through your mind?
The tryout was rough. But that's what it is. It's there to prove if you actually want it or you don't want it. You know what I mean? Like I was saying, like I was in school at the time when Frankie Picard and Connor Claxton was still students. Like me and Connor worked the rails together at TOD, and I was there for like I want to say like 6 or 7 months, but then real life happened and I had to step back. I trained with New Moon Rising as well, Joe Gacy. It's just real life always got in the way of things, like up until I joined H2O, and like once I joined H2O, the rest was history,
Oh wow! And who was the head trainers at H2O when you joined? Was it
When I first joined at H2O, the head trainer was Preacher Phineas James, and Matt. They were both training 2 different days. Matt would do one day, and Preacher would do it another day.
Oh, okay. Now, was CZW the first? So, what did you called up, and how does where people like to know the whole process? So, you call up.
Well, I'm sure it's a little different. I'm sure it's a little different now, but then I just hit DJ up and said I wanted to train, and he gave me a date to come in for a tryout, and that's pretty much it.
What did they make you do? You get in the ring right off the bat? Do they
well, when you first get there, it was basically just like a tryout, like doing bear crawls and a lot of squats and stuff like that. Just you don't even get in the ring the first day, and that's how it should be with any school, I believe. Like you have to, I believe you earn your way into that ring. Just a lot of cardio stuff, and just pushing yourself, you know?
Oh, okay. Huh. And they make the girls do the same thing, huh?
Yeah. Yeah. At least they did when I was there. Like me and I remember Brittany Blake coming in. Like we were close friends then,
Okay.
and I told her about CZW, and she came in and she did basically the same tryout I did.
Brittany Blake, it's funny. I ran into you mentioned Brittany Blake. I was on my way with my friend Lee to one of your H2O shows, and we stopped at this diner off the wall on the way, and we sit in there, and I'm like, I never been here. And the lady's like, what do you want? I'm like, I don't know. Let me see the menu. She said, where are you guys from? I'm like, we're just stopping. We're in a rush. We got to get to the wrestling show. And she's like, wrestling? She said, my daughter wrestles. And I'm like, yeah, yeah. And I'm like, who is she? And he goes, Brittany Blake. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I remember Brittany Blake when she was actually training and setting up chairs and stuff. I'm like, I've seen tons of her matches. And her mom was like, she did some stuff in Japan. And then every time I'd go in that diner, I'd run into her mom and like, how's Brittany? She's like, yeah, she's getting married. Yeah.
Yeah, we've been friends. We were friends for years since I was since I was a teenager, and like
Okay.
we've always we've never actually got the chance to work each other, but I feel like it's gonna happen eventually.
Oh, you knew her before she even got into wrestling?
Yeah.
Oh,
She was training at Chikara at the
okay.
time, and
Yeah,
for one reason or another, she didn't like it. So I suggested CZW, and now look at her now.
yeah. That was crazy. Oh, man. I like her mom.
So growing up, you were watching CZW. What was your favorite? What would you say your favorite memory is with Combat Zone Wrestling? Like as a fan.
Well, uh, the cage. I think it was Cage Death 5 with the three rings.
The two rings. The
Was it 5?
Cage of Death 5 had two rings. The million thumbtacks.
Was it 2 rings? Yeah, the thumbtack. That was my favorite. That was one of my favorite memories. Seeing Xander get hung from the hooks was mind blowing to me
Mm-hmm.
because I've never seen anything like that before.
Mm-hmm.
Wife beater and Zandig, that was good. Zandig and Lobo, like all these things that were just like so mind blowingly violent and gory, and it was just amazing to me. And personally, like I'm a huge horror fan, so it was like seeing a horror film come to life.
Oh, for sure.
Now, see, it's amazing that he sees that and wants to do it. And I see that, I just want to go to it and maybe buy a T-shirt from the guy. You know what I mean? It's
Yep.
you got to really like it. It is art form. It's an art form. I don't care what they say.
It is an art form, and that's
Yeah.
that's probably why I love deathmatch wrestling so much because it's so unique, and implementing wrestling with deathmatch wrestling
Right.
is something I'm a huge fan of. Like Danny Havoc did it very well. Masada still does it very well. Drake Younger still does it very well. Like
Oh,
these
yeah.
guys put on a show and they tell a story, and that's probably what I love about deathmatch wrestling the most. It's
Yeah.
crazy. It's crazy when fans just eat it alive, the first light tube shot, that first pop, and they're just on their feet.
Oh, right.
Absolutely.
The fan participation, the fan
Absolutely.
expression. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Telling the story. Joe and Drake Younger. Did you see that match the other week?
I did. It was pretty good. I love that match.
Yeah, that was a good story. Yeah, I like that match.
Absolutely.
I don't think Drake's had any bad matches since coming back, like to XPW. I don't think he's had any bad matches so far.
No, absolutely.
I've never seen a bad match of his anywhere.
No, you're right. I think he's the best. He carried the belt, the CZW belt, the best.
He did. I agree. He carried it. He was a great world champion for CZW. There's a lot of them. There's a lot of good heavyweight champions. Like Matt carried that belt really well. Like Nick, that goes without saying.
Masada.
Yeah, Masada. I remember I was watching, going to live CZW shows when Masada had the world title, and I was just blown away. Every match he had, even when he had that match with Christina Von Eerie, that was phenomenal. I was there for that. Well, stuff like that.
Right. So when you go to, you must have gone. What's your first tournament of death?
My first tournament of death. Shit. I think my first tournament of death, was I working that tournament of death? I might have my first tournament of death. I actually might have been staff. It was the one. It was the very last one that Danny Havoc won. I forget the stipulation at the end, but
Was it?
I remember.
Where was it
I
at?
think it was in Delaware. I think it was Danny versus Scotty Vortex. Maybe that might have been it. I think.
Where was
Yes,
that?
it was in DJ's farm. Danny had
Oh, DJ's farm. Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
That was a crazy finals. That was one of the craziest finals they had. Danny won.
Like the first time I was ever on the farm was as a fan. I forget the show name, but I know it was DJ and Matt in a squared circle of sacrifice at the end on the farm.
Oh wow.
That's all they've had is tournaments there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been ridiculous over there. But yeah,
Like it wasn't even a tournament this time. I might have been called Redemption, I think. And after
they ran
yeah,
summer. Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah, he's got
like there was the big angle, Matt got fired, all that stuff.
Yeah. That's the only time they ran a non-tournament show. Yeah,
that's right out there. Oh,
that
wow.
was cool. That was cool.
Yeah, they had some good events over there, and like we were talking about early on CZW, some of the matches were before their time.
Absolutely.
Zandig,
You look at some of those matches, and it's just like, people are still doing the stuff they did now, but then you can think back to when you first saw this certain spot, or you saw this first, this gimmick used for the first time,
Right.
stuff like that. Like I remember the first time I saw Salt. I think I forget who it was, but it might have been Wife Beater and Zandig, and Wife Beater I think poured it on Zandig in the squared circle of sacrifice. That was probably the first time I ever saw Salt used in a match.
Oh, okay. And shocking. Right. Yeah, you're not. Yeah, that's true. That's true. First time you see a major thing in wrestling, you can remember like the first time a guy went off a roof. Yeah.
So you go into training. I think you debuted, if I'm not mistaken, in 2020.
2020. Yeah, 2020 is when I made my debut. I was preacher gave me the okay, said you're ready, and I was like, all right. I mean, let's do it, and the rest is history.
So leading up to that first match, was it against Red? I'm sorry if I'm wrong. Was it?
Yes, it was against Big Red. It was the main event of one of the Undiscovereds.
How was it? What was going through your mind when you were, right before your music hit and you come out? Were you nervous?
Yeah, I was nervous. I was asking Matt for a lot of advice, at the time. I was like, what do I do? Blah, 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 all that stuff. But I still get nervous, like on that fact. Like I still get nervous. I feel like if you don't get nervous anymore, then maybe you've lost your passion for it. I don't know. I just always get nervous. But once you go through the curtain, it's just the adrenaline kicks in and you're ready to go.
Really? Wow. They say that. Yeah.
I've heard the Undertaker say it. He said he still gets nervous, and I could probably, I don't know if I'm misreading the quote, but it was something along the lines of if you still don't get nervous, then you shouldn't be doing it anymore. But that's coming from the Undertaker,
Oh wow. Yeah. So you do a couple undiscovered shows, then you become the undiscovered champion. How was it like? What was your when you won that belt? How was it like? What was going through your mind?
I feel like it was such an accomplishment for me coming from where I came from. Like I didn't know like if I'd ever be able to do it as a wrestler. Like I tried so many times and things just got in the way, but like to actually hold this title, to be the top of the Undiscovered brand, meant a lot to me. It also meant a lot to me that it was the first cage match in Undiscovered history. Yeah, so that meant a lot to me to be able to hold that belt. And then, I held it for a good couple of months. I think it was like 6 or 7 months.
Yep.
And then I dropped it. Yeah, I dropped it to a guy named Brian Neal, and he is the last Undiscovered champion. The title is retired.
Oh wow, wasn't even aware that it was retired.
Yeah, he was the last one. The match itself is on IWTV. I'm happy with that match. I'm very proud of that match. There's not it's when I get to show off my wrestling abilities, some people are always surprised, like, oh, you can actually wrestle. I'm like, yes, I can, but You want to see me go out there and put somebody in an armbar? Or do you want to see me go out there and punch somebody in the face?
So as a wrestler, what do you prefer? Like when a promoter hits you up,
Yeah.
would you rather do like mentally? Would you rather do a death match or would you rather do a regular wrestling match?
It does. I mean, both. But as I like, I really prefer doing deathmatch wrestling. But I don't. When I do a death match, I don't want it to be just hit somebody with something, hit somebody with something else, that kind of stuff. I want to involve, like, put like my wrestling skills in the deathmatch wrestling. I don't want to just go out there and just violence for the sake of violence, and that's fine sometimes, but that's not like what I want to do. I want to be a deathmatch wrestler that can actually wrestle.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, that is something. That's like Drake did the other day.
Yeah, like Drake, exactly.
So when it, I mean, I know you mostly with H2O, but if let's say I'm a promoter and I call you up, I got your contact here. I want you for a show. I'm just curious. What does the conversation go like? You're like, when, where, what do I got to do? Do you ask about?
Yeah, that's
hardcore. Like, so you don't show me how you're wrestling a female midget, buddy. Yeah, like you know.
Honestly, it really depends. Like it depends. Like I'm willing to travel, and I tell promoters that like I'll travel.
Yeah.
I first like they'll hit me up and ask me like I want to book you for this and that show. I was like, cool. They'll usually ask you like most of the time they'll ask you what your rate is and stuff like that, and I'll ask who I'm working, and then you know what do they? Is it no rules or is it hardcore? Is it WCW hardcore? Is it a death match? What do you what do you want to do?
Okay.
And then just go from there.
Huh.
Like when Justin hit me up, Alex Stretch, my partner, he went down with COVID, and he hit me up. He hit me up. It was like, can you work Hellaware Assassin? And I said, absolutely. No questions asked about that one.
That's our guy, man. I knew that. Now, funny, you knew Brittany. I knew him as like a teenager, man. We go way back before we would go to some wrestling shows together, and he wasn't even a wrestler. He never even had. But that guy's the same one. I want to be a wrestler. I want to get in wrestling. I want to get in wrestling. He loved it. The minute he had one match, he went nuts. He just wanted to get more and more matches. He was addicted.
Guys are cutting out a little bit.
So yeah, we're talking about Hellaware Assassin. Mike knowing him, he went to his first match.
Oh yeah, up in Connecticut, and yeah, he loved it, and he fell in love with wrestling too. But now he's back at it, going hardcore.
Yeah, man.
That was a good.
I'm
match.
happy for him.
I like that match. That was good. That was a good match.
It was. I loved it. It's funny because like we had so much, like we went into it with like we were talking like this and this, and then we get in there and it's just like we just did whatever. Anything we talked about besides like the end was like thrown out the window.
Wow. JD, unpredictable.
I was like, all right, so I mean, like it was fun. Like I loved it. I'm very happy with that match, and I'm very happy that the fans love that match because like to get a standing ovation, even no matter how many people are in the crowd, getting a standing ovation and a "this is awesome," and both these guys, all those chants, it meant a lot to me.
Good.
Thank you so much for that, by the way.
Oh, no problem, man. I'm happy. I was happy to be able to go out there and do that shit. We'll run it. Maybe one day me and Hellaware run it back again and have some more fun.
Oh yeah,
no, for sure.
That was a good show. It's on your line.
It's on.
From top to bottom, it was good. They had those other guys that do. I like that show. It was one of those fun, really good shows that you liked. I liked it a lot.
It was my first show I ever threw together.
I thought the show was fantastic. I mean,
thank you.
Everything, even the battle royal and having TJ come in that battle royal. I just loved every part of it. I thought it was great.
We try to. I try to implement something different because there's so much competition in the New Jersey area. There's there's so much.
There's more than one hardcore company.
Yeah, there's more than like 5.
I didn't know about that. You mean they're popping up daily?
They're popping up every single day. They're popping up by the hour. But there's so much competition. we try to put some comedy in there. As you know, like half my all my main card, my top card bailed out on me. So thank you for stepping in.
Yeah, that was good. That was good.
Kicking ass.
Yeah, man. Thank you for having me. It was a surprise. I was like, I didn't think, because I had just worked in a death match that Monday on Halloween, so I was like, and then Chris Bradley hit me up and was like, he's not gonna be able to make it. Can you take my spot? I was like, I hit up you, Justin, and that turned out Necro wasn't coming, so we're like, Alex couldn't make it either, so we're like, well, why don't we do this? And I was like, all right, cool, let's roll with it, let's go.
Thanks again, man. You saved the show. Good. So Anthraxx, what's your opinion on gusset plates?
I love and hate them at the same time. I remember. Well, it's funny that you mentioned gusset plates because that Monday before the Hellaware Assassin show, Neil Diamond Cutter headbutted the gusset plate into my head, and I was still healing from that on the XBW show. So that's probably why I bled so much, because I still had the gusset marks in my head. So it was like, pop me with one and I'm gushing. So I love and hate gusset plates. I love them more than I like Kenzens, because I did a Kenzen once and it was the worst pain I've ever had in my entire life.
Oh, wow.
Now the Kenzen, if you get it in there hard, it goes through the skin. Does it get to the bone?
Yeah, I mean, it can. I've heard people say that. Unfortunately for me, Jimmy Chando Lion put it in my head, gave it 3 good pounds. It was in there, and then I got DVD'd through a mousetrap barbed wire board. Like, it was like set up like a mousetrap, so when you hit it, it would close like that, and you would both be trapped in there. So when I got the DVD through it, I smacked my head and it popped out.
Okay.
So yeah, that was my one and only experience with Kenzens. Will I do it again? Yeah, probably, but it sucks. It was the worst pain ever.
He got it in there deep then, because we were remember one tournament of death where the doctor was getting it out of Kobayashi's head. He was right in the middle, right there in the middle of the crowd, off to the side. You know how tournament of death. Like,
yep.
You're practically.
I've seen that video.
And man, they were pulling that thing out like it was like a oh my god! But you got to think about it. That's like 50 little nails all embedded in one little section. It's crazy. I counted the gusset plates. They're like 150. It's like 12 by 12 and a little gap in the middle. So you're getting like 100. That's rough, man.
I mean, I actually just took a gusset plate bat this past show that H2O did. When was that show? Friday. It was on Friday. It was me and Lady Blakely. And there was a gusset plate bat there, and she gave me 2 good shots to the back. And I was like, you motherfucker.
Oh, wow. That's crazy. Mickey takes them to the chest. And hey, I respect what you guys do, man. You'll never say you fucked up. I never say that. I don't care what it is. Even if a match isn't that great, you're in the ring. Big respect for you guys, because I can't do it. I'm chicken.
Yeah, that's the thing that nobody really understands, is that you think you can be a professional wrestler, but then once you get in there, it's a whole different story. Like, there's no cardio like ring cardio. It's completely different than anything ever. And then you take those bumps, and it's I've heard it's like getting hit with a car going 30 miles an hour.
Oh, yeah, it's a complete stop. You're stopping completely. Yeah.
So back in August, you wrestled the 2 deathmatch legends, Matt Tremont and Low Life Lou, with your partner Alex Stretch in a no rope barbed wire match.
I did.
What were your thoughts on that match?
I think it was it August? It might have been September. I know August was me and Louie, and then I think September, separate ways, was me and Stretch versus Matt and Louie. But
right.
Yeah, going into that match, I was nervous.
Really?
Sure. Going in there with Matt Tremont, one of my idols and my heroes.
Oh, yeah.
Well, seeing him come out, it was like, fuck, like, this is it. I mainly, me and Louis mainly did stuff that match just because storyline wise. But I remember this one thing Matt did. He just picked up the whole spool of barbed wire and just tossed it at me. And I was like, shit, that.
God.
But I like that match. It was my first no rope barbed wire, and I'll do it again. I'll do another one if the opportunity ever arises. Like I think no rope barbed wires are very good if they're done correctly. Like if you tell a story with that wire, it's one of the best things ever.
Yeah, I'm a fan.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and yeah, that was definitely a good one.
I like Louis. Louis is a legend. Louis is one of the, you got your eras of wrestling, and Louis is right down there with the Jersey All Pro with the Zandig and the White. That period of time, he's one of the few holdovers like Pondo and Tank, leftovers from another era of wrestling, and it's cool to see that.
Like, if I could talk about Louis for a second, because Louis is very important to my wrestling career. I did watch him growing up, and then 2021, he said he wanted to work me in a match, and I was like, cool. I'm very honored. And we went out there. I think it was Paid Your Dues, and we went out there and we had a really good match. And in this match, I dove off a 20-foot scaffold that literally touched the ceiling, and I broke my tibia and my fibula.
Really?
Yeah. And luckily, that was the last part of the match, and I was able to pin him. And then I came back in 4 or 5 months, which is amazing. Like, we'll get to that story, but Louis is very important to my wrestling career because he wanted to give me a chance. He wanted to work with me. He wanted to see me progress because he believed in me, and that's why me and him have worked so many times. We worked that match. We worked a Sean Henderson show match on Good Friday. We worked Like a Hoss, which was when me and him just went nuts, like with light tubes and flat screen TVs and knives, and then separate ways. Yeah. And then the separate ways tag match, and then finally, me and Stretch versus him and his son in his son's first match, which I was honored to be a part of to give him that moment.
Oh yeah, that was a couple months. That was like a month and a half ago.
Christmas time.
Like in December, yeah.
Yeah. I was eager to see that because I saw him as a little kid running around. And I mean, they did all right. I liked it. I mean, I'll give the guy credit. He's learning, and for a first match, he's lucky. He's getting on a worldwide platform on his very first match. That's a big thing.
I think Matt told me that show had like 11,000 streams on IWTV. Like 11,000 people were watching that show, or some absurd, like some number. Maybe it was lower. I don't know.
But
there was the number was the most we've ever drawn for a live stream.
Oh wow!
Because it's mainly because that was Matt's last no rope barbed wire match. Him and Sawyer Rack. That was the last one.
Yeah.
But again, like his first match was seen by that worldwide like audience is crazy.
Right.
That's amazing. And your first match.
Right, but because years ago, you're in a good time right now. Because years ago, you could be a great wrestler, and local tapes get traded around. It took now, a guy can have one match and get over. And like, did you see that guy's match? Like we didn't know about Hoodfoot, people like that, and you're like, wow. So yeah, that you get national exposure. You get more exposure than you could in maybe 5 years of wrestling.
Yeah,
in a couple months of having a few good matches. Your name's out. Do you get contacted by people all over the world or country? Like, or
I do. Somebody there's been a couple people from Australia that like fans that just hit me up and they were just telling me that they liked my work and stuff like that. There was one guy that hit me up, and then there was another guy from Australia that hit me up that wanted to do like artwork of me, and that was pretty cool. Okay. I get the artwork thing a lot because of my character, which is cool. I like good artwork for my character.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
See, worldwide, nobody would have known you in Australia years ago.
Sure. Now, who came up with Anthrax? Was that you? You came up with the.
I decided on it, but who originally came up with it was Preacher. He gave everybody nicknames when they first came to the school, just
Oh.
because he says he wouldn't remember your actual name, so he gave you a nickname. And his nickname for me was Anthrax because he said I looked like I either belong in Anthrax or I belong being a roadie for Anthrax. So
So you got a kick out of me doing the Anthrax gimmick there.
yeah, so the name kind of stuck. And even at the time when I first made my debut, I was dyeing my beard red for just just to be different. But it was also like Scott Ian from Anthrax dyed his beard red, and so did Dimebag Darrell. And I love them. Like I love those two musicians very much. So
Yeah.
I would take the Anthrax name and run with it. I would always tell people it wasn't based off of the band; it was based off of the Poison. But still, I do love Anthrax.
So the band's good, and the Poison is not good. Okay, we got you. And you're good. Yeah. The wrestler's good. Okay, the band is okay, but not the Poison. We don't want that shit.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen Anthrax live, and as old as the lead singer is, he still jumps around on that stage like he's like in his 20s.
Oh yeah, they're good. I saw him. I'd like to go check him out again, but I saw him with Slayer and Testament or something like that. It was a big Baltimore. Was pretty good. They're good.
So in December you got to wrestle Ross and Bradley. Was that your first time wrestling with them guys?
It's my first time actually ever getting in a ring with like Ross, but I've wrestled Bradley once or twice. I remember the first time I wrestled Bradley was in this tournament we did called Heir to Thy Throne. It was me versus Bradley versus Stretch, and Don't Break Anything in the Kitchen match. And it was I liked it. It was very chaotic. There was one thing that I did to Bradley that I still like sticks in my mind where I grabbed like what is it? There was a bunch of forks on styrofoam, and I just cross-bodied it into his chest, and it just shattered, and it was just beautiful. And the finish of this match, Matt says, is probably still one of the best finishes he's ever seen. Like Stretch was in a trash can, and Bradley had like this big giant like sledgehammer thing covered in gusset plates, and he just hammered the trash can with Stretch in it.
Oh.
And then Jeff Cannonball was there and gave Bradley a soda, told him to do a soda review. I hit Bradley from behind. He spit the soda out, and I belly to bellied him onto Stretch, who was still in the trash can, and basically pinned them both.
That's great.
So that was my first time being in the ring with Bradley, and it was cool. And then we had the tag match, and that was fun. I like that match a lot. Maybe down the line, me and him will, me and Bradley and Ross will get to do more, hopefully. But for what it was, I thought it was great. The crowd was into it. It was good.
Oh, yeah.
They're awesome. They're awesome.
All you guys really, give us a lot. Always have good matches. Yeah, I was going to ask you. We got UVU coming up, Ultraviolet Underground. What's your thoughts on it? What's your thoughts on it? And
I think it's great. I think it's great that Zandig's doing something again because there's nobody with the mind of deathmatch wrestling like Zandig. I think the roster they've announced so far is great. Like I'm a big Otis Kogar fan. I love everything he does. So him getting that kind of exposure is awesome. Insane Lane, I think is very underrated. These are guys like I would love to work down the road. I would love to be a part of Ultraviolet Underground sometime in the future because it's that CZW vibe, that old CZW vibe that I fell in love with.
Yeah, and you get good Chinese food if you work for them.
Oh yeah? Oh well, then you can't beat Chinese food.
You didn't hear about the Chinese food incident?
No. The fries.
Yeah.
Listen, I don't know who goes to a buffet and gets fries. That's all I'm going to say. A Chinese buffet at that. You go to a Chinese buffet and you get fries. I don't know.
Everybody knows about that.
That place is actually right down the road from my house.
Oh, is it really?
It's literally like 5 minutes down the road. The Peking buffet is like 5 minutes down the road from where I live.
Oh yeah, that's great.
Have you ever been in there?
It's good.
I go in there all the time.
Yeah, it's great, man. It's good food there.
What do you think of the fries?
You don't eat the fries.
I never had the fries because I wouldn't get fries at a buffet. A Chinese buffet. Let me be real. A Chinese buffet, I won't get fries, but I will have the pizza every now and then.
Yeah, that pizza was good. I tried the pizza there. Yeah, yeah.
Now with all the talk in the deathmatch community about the fries, are you gonna try them next time you go in there?
Yes, I'm gonna say that this big guy with tattoos told me the fries sucked here, and he was screaming about Danzig.
Yeah, that was funny. Yeah.
Oh man,
you wrestled Schlack. Wait, I know you did a tag team with Schlack.
I did.
Right?
I wrestled Schlack and Dan in Tremont's tag team deathmatch tournament.
Right now he's got. I think Schlack has developed an aura about him. Do you think so?
Yeah.
Like Necro aura, Corporal Robinson. These guys got auras about them, and you're like, I don't know if to be afraid or are they cool? I don't want to piss them off. What do you think of that?
Well, going into that match, I didn't exactly know like what was going to happen or how it was going to be, but it was fun. It was probably one of the most fun matches I ever were part of. Yeah. I remember. So it was a tag match, and we're basically just brawling, and then there was these bats with glass on them, and I'm doing something to Dan, and then Schlack comes behind me and just wallops me with this glass bat, and I'm like, oh fuck, and then he does it again with both of them, and it actually indented my back and left the smiley face on my back.
Oh wow, wow, yeah, Schlack.
I remember that match.
But the match itself was fun. Like I said, that's one of the funnest matches I was ever a part of because it was just so wild and so chaotic, and it was awesome.
Wow, that was a classic. Yeah,
she's asking about women. Yeah. What do you now? I am a fan. This is the deathmatch community always fights on each other. I love the women hardcore wrestlers. I like them because it's even if they're. I know. Sometimes they're wrestling guys that are bigger than them and stuff. But I just like, I guess because I'm older and I never saw it until recently. I mean, the last couple of years, I like the women deathmatch workers. I like when they wrestle each other, but I kind of like when they wrestle the men too because I'm seeing I'm going to see how tough this girl is because.
Well, okay, so two things on that. Like H2O has an all women's deathmatch tournament coming up called Angels of Death.
Oh, yeah,
so. And then even with that, like I said, this past Friday, I wrestled Lady Blakely, and I knew what she could do, and going in there, she was just a beast. Like she is not to be slept on. She's actually facing Randy West on that show. She's in the King of the No Ring. So
yeah.
So like I'm a fan of it. I'm a fan of I love seeing that stuff because people are going to think what they want to think about it, but these girls can go and they can hit harder than the men. Like I remember Sawyer Wreck gave me 2 forearms, and it was probably the hardest forearms I've ever took in my entire life.
Really?
She hit harder than some men. Yeah, she's a beast, and I have the utmost respect for her.
Oh man, that match with Tremont and her, I was just like, this is great. I mean, it was like. That's one of those things you can tell, Matt. That's in my mind constantly. Like whenever I just constantly think of that match when I see a picture of her, I always refer to that one thing. It's kind of like Wife Beater Mondo or like Zandig Mondo going off where you always think of that. The way they went at it.
Mickey Knuckles is one of the toughest, not even just women, one of the toughest wrestlers alive.
Yes.
He's a legend. Only lady to ever participate in a tournament of death twice.
Okay. Yeah. I actually watched that Tournament of Death. I thought it was very good. I was very, very much entertained, and I was happy to actually see CZW doing that kind of stuff again.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that's right down the road from us. DJ's farm.
Yeah. We're right in Smyrna, Delaware.
Oh yeah. So you're right by the farm.
Yeah. Let me tell you. I don't know if you ever saw the video I did with a guy named Luke Hadley, History of CZW in Delaware.
Yep, I know exactly who he is.
That was me.
Really?
Yeah, that's me, Mike. Yeah. I was outside pointing to the. We went and measured Mondo and Zandig's bump. We went to
The documentary. I remember now. I've watched that documentary. Yeah. About
that's
how yeah.
yeah.
That's
So
awesome.
yeah, we went to all the venues, but those are all in Dover and Smyrna, and we live in Smyrna, and like Breakaway Tavern is like a mile down the road from me, quarter mile. I could walk to it. It's dilapidated. The fire hall's still there. That's where Jukasai and Stretch and Smyrna. The daycare, the bar Bulldozers is a daycare center. We took Mickey to all those places.
Really?
Dover, yes, she came to Dover.
That's awesome.
Right before her match with Chondo.
Yeah, before her match with Chondo. Yeah.
That was a great match. Like I watched that match and I remember one thing. It was I think it was some kind of flower pot or it was something that one of the fans gave to Mickey and she broke it over Chando's head and all of a sudden like I was staffing at that show and all of a sudden people were saying there's ants all over the ring and there was ants coming like she broke it and there was like an ant nest in it and there was ants all over the ring.
God. That's funny.
That's actually we got that from that venue, one of the venues.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah, it was from a
so you're responsible for the ants then.
Yeah, it was Mike. It was
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Mike.
Yeah. No, I was going to ask about the women. The women. See, like I said, I love the women wrestlers, and I love the men wrestlers, women. I like it all. Art form. But it's such taboo. Like if you're in a bar and you took your girlfriend, you're like, get out, you better. You could be beat up by just grabbing a woman, right?
Yes.
But then, when it's in the form of deathmatch wrestling, you can beat them like in a way that you can beat on, and they want you to beat on them in a way that nobody can imagine. You know the thing, man hitting a woman. You never lay your hands on a woman. Oh, unless it's a deathmatch, then you can really beat her. Yeah.
I look at it like this: like a lot of the women wrestlers, like Lady Blakely, like Sawyer Wreck, like Mickey Knuckles, like Randy West, like all of these badass women wrestlers, they'll probably f you up worse than a man could any day of the week.
Right.
So that's how I believe on. Like in that instance, if you put your if you tried to grab on like somebody like Sawyer Wreck would knock you off herself.
Oh, for sure.
Right. Yeah. No, I understand. No, it's just like it's kind of like
I get what you're saying. It's like it's mind blowing because it's like, and there's been arguments about it, like intergender wrestling and stuff like that is wrong. I don't believe that. I think it's awesome. Like if you go on IWTV and you watch Billy Starks versus Matt Tremont from one of our shows, Cosmic Chaos, it was phenomenal.
Yeah. No. Yeah. No, I like it. No, I'm for it. I like it. I'm happy with it. I can't wait till the Angels of Death. And like you said, the no rope tournament, King of the No Ring has a lot of women in it. Some of them are on both of them. Yeah.
Well, Lady Blakely is in the tournament, and then you have an intergender tag match, which is Matt and Jess Moss and Sawyer Wreck versus Jeff Cannonball, Tara Calloway, and Duncan and Liam. So that's going to be wild. It's 6 people, no ring. Like that's chaos.
Yeah, I can't. I don't know how that's going to go. I mean, it's just going to be all over the building.
It could be.
No, but I mean, so when there's no ring, I mean, I've seen the no rings, but that's going to be. That looks like one of the biggest no ring shows I've ever seen.
Oh, for sure.
He brings such talent.
He's bringing in some good, good talent.
I like it.
So anything else?
Oh no. I look back on your Instagram. That shirt you got is really cool. The one with the skulls and the head, your face bleeding.
Which one was that?
It had words on the back like something pain or blood or something like that. It had 2 skulls and a like a bloody picture of you, character, kind of like
I would have to go back. It was probably an artwork somebody did for me. Like I said, I get a lot of those. But those are really cool. Like somebody made one before that was just like me when I had the Kenzen in my mouth. There was a picture I did, but they drew it and it was just me bloody with the Kenzin in my mouth that just said my name across it, like stuff like that. Like I love stuff like that.
So, yeah, you have some. Yeah, I think I seen that picture. It was pretty cool artwork.
Keep going. I got no.
Yeah,
that was good. Yeah. I was gonna. What about these? All right. So, you've done everything. You know, you've done so much in H2O. What about? Would you be interested in like? I heard they're bringing Carnage Cup back in May or something like that. Would you? Is there?
You mean like Deep South?
Yeah. Would you be interested in doing one of the? Are you interested in any tournament that you haven't been in or an organization? Yeah.
I don't know like about Deep South. That's like a touchy subject, but like tournament wise, like companies like that, like I would be down for any tournament. Like I've done my fair share of tournaments so far, being with H2O. I guess the goal within the next year or two is to actually win one anywhere. Like just to say I won a deathmatch tournament, or at least make it to the finals. Like that's my goal. That's my goal going into Sunday. Is like,
okay,
if I don't win, then I'm just gonna be bloody on. You better like bloody me up and put me on the floor, because like my heart is set on winning, and that's how my heart always is going to tournaments like Hardcore Kingdom and stuff like that. But like, I want this 2023 to be the year that people actually take notice of me more than before. So it all starts on Sunday for me.
It all starts on Sunday.
Your year, absolutely.
Anthraxx, I like your attitude, and you are a guy who really likes to. You like doing what you do. I can tell.
I do.
We've interviewed a lot of guys, and a lot of them are like that. They really like doing what they do, and they really do. And you know,
like I feel like you have to. If in anything, like if you can work a shitty 9-to-5 job. You don't gotta like that. But if you got a passion for something and you don't, like you want to pursue it and you want to do it, you should like it. Like, I don't think anybody shouldn't do deathmatch wrestling unless they really truly love the art form and love what it's about. Like, yes, parts of it suck, parts of it hurt. Afterwards, the showers suck, but in that moment, it's the best feeling ever.
They say that.
I know we're running short on time. I wanted to ask for the people watching that are watching this right now and they want to be a wrestler. What advice do you have for them?
I want to say H2O, hit up Matt Tremont. At the moment, I don't know if we're enrolling any more students, but I would say hit him up because it's probably one of the best schools in the area.
Oh yeah.
I guess I could also give Super Crazy a shout out because they are still enrolling students, and I've seen some people come out of there that are great, like Brax. I really like Brax. So that's my advice for them, H2O or Super Crazy.
See, you know what I like about H2O is they give everybody a chance, and you don't have to set up a ring; it's already there, right? You don't have to go. You go to the building. It's not like you're going to be traveling. The H2O is going to be all over the place. I think it's a good place to train, and he runs so many shows that you get a chance to see the shows, practice with people, meet Low Life Louie. It's like almost like a college for indie wrestling.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I've worked with so many people so far that I never thought I would actually get a chance to work with, that I've watched before I was a wrestler, such as the Jeff Cannonballs, Neil Diamond Cutter, Louis, Matt himself. Like these people that I've never thought that I would actually be able to step into a ring with, let alone do a death match with. It's mind blowing.
Yeah.
Like I've seen people come into the school that took them like a while to get the hang of it, and I didn't know if they would be able to get the hang of it, and then they're given that chance and they're rolling with the punches. They go with it. They're it's with H2O, it's we want Matt isn't going to turn you away. Like give it all he wants is for you to give it everything you've got.
I saw February 25th, Psycho Circus. So you are your team of 5 is representing H2O against the New York organization.
Yeah, it's New York versus H2O, and it's going to be something. I've I've seen Psycho Circus a few times.
Yeah.
It's always fun to see it, like the setups they have and stuff like that. Like
Yeah.
the building itself is like they got the old ECW brick entrance, which is
Oh,
like phenomenal to me. Um, but it's gonna be fun. It's probably gonna be bloody, which is fine. Like I'm in there with like on my team, I got Ross and Bradley, Matt Tremont, Mouse. Like how can you
yeah.
go wrong with that?
Yeah. That's a good.
Like it's their WrestleMania. Like Psycho Circus is their WrestleMania. I'm hearing like big numbers for the crowd, and for me to be actually in that main event is just is very mind blowing to me.
Wow. Is that a cage match or something? Is it 5-on-5?
Yeah, it's a cage match setup. Like I think two of the sides are going to be cages, the other side's going to be open. So it's like a War Games style setup, but just with one ring.
Okay, that's gonna be yeah. So anybody watching this video, February 25th, Psycho Circus. Is that going to be on IWTV?
No, it won't be. They still do. I don't know if they have a streaming service. I don't think they do at the moment, but it's DVDs and stuff like that, and usually they'll put stuff up on YouTube and stuff like that. So I would go check them out.
Yeah.
It's New York Connection Wrestling.
I'm going to see that. Yeah, one way or the other.
Absolutely. Hey, thank you. Do you have any questions for us?
Are you guys coming on Sunday? Are you going to come on Sunday, Justin?
Possibly. If not, I'll definitely be watching. But
yeah,
I mean,
that,
work's been crazy.
Well, the thing about it is it's not going to be live. It's being taped to air the night before Angels of Death.
Oh wow!
So you have to see it.
So
I think I might try.
You'll get like if you wait to watch it on live, you'll get Angels of Death the next day, but the night before that, we'll be streaming this show live in its entirety.
This seems like it's a good show because the crowd. Now let me ask you a question. When you're doing the no ring, now you're really interacting with the crowd. Now, how is that different, like than the regular match? And you're in a tournament. Like, what do you think of that? You're almost in the crowd wrestling, not just for a couple minutes and going back in the ring. The whole match is in the crowd. Does that distract you? Do you got to watch out for people? How is that different?
I mean, to be fair, this is probably my first. This is my first no ring death match, but I've done a lot of stuff on the floor. I would say I'll probably be very careful around people, but it's like from what I've seen, the deathmatch wrestling fans, they love it when you're up close and personal. They love getting that. They love getting that glass on them. The blood. They love it all. Like I eat it up. Like when they give me a reaction, when they say something, I eat it up. Like I love it. Like I remember. When was it? The me and Stretch versus Louie and Little Louie. I was trying to hit Louie with the Christmas tree, the Christmas ball bat, and it wasn't breaking. So I just threw it, and I was like, I'm gonna fucking bite him, and they fucking ate it. They ate it up, and they started chanting, "You sick fuck," and I was like, that's why I love doing it.
I remember the ball wasn't breaking, and I'm like, I wanted Little Louie to get it, guy. I wanted to.
Anthraxx, before we leave, if anyone's watching, I know you have beanies for sale. You have any shirts for sale? Where could they contact you?
My Facebook is Anthraxx, just Anthraxx. My shoot name will probably come up, but that's me. Twitter, Anthraxx H2O. Instagram, Anthraxx H2O. I don't have any shirts right now. I just got beanies in, and they sold out within like the first week. So I'm trying to get more of them, trying to get more shirts, because every time I get merchandise in, it just goes.
Really?
And it's just, yeah, it's definitely it's not cheap to have shirts or anything like that made. So I'm trying to get more merchandise in. I'm trying to get more beanies in because more people wanted them, and I only had like a small supply. So, but I will be getting more merchandise in. But if anybody wants to follow me, those are the social media they can follow me at.
What about the ring worn equipment? Like people are buying that stuff up, man. They're buying anything.
I literally just sold maybe like a month ago my original vest and my original red pants, my red shorts that I was wearing. So yeah, people do buy it. I remember the Kenzen, somebody bought that. Like I had like an auction, not an auction, but like I was saying, like bidding starts at like $30, and people were like betting money, like I'll give you this, I'll give you that. So like that, those types of things they do buy.
See, nowadays there's ways to make money in wrestling other than the payday. Between the internet and selling, they would never. You know how much stuff we could have got from they probably the Sabu Terry Funk tables. They probably just threw that out of the barbed wire. Can you imagine if you would have?
Right.
Huh?
That'd be crazy. Like if you still had a piece of barbed wire from Born to Be Wired, it would probably be worth like maybe like $1,000 or $2,000 at this point because that match is so famous.
Yes, I told him. You know what they should? If you could have gone back, you would have gotten a video camera and taken everything, every table, everything from that ring that day, documented it, cut it up in pieces, and like certified it, and it would have been now it would be unbelievable. I can't imagine what you could have got from that.
Like it's crazy. It's crazy to think about. Like if Nick Gage one day said, "I'm going to sell my original pizza cutter," if he still had it, that thing would I don't know how much that would go for. But that's like pieces of history, you know.
Yeah, that's something me and Mike like. We love documenting history. We love collecting stuff. I love collecting.
He collects.
Stuff.
I look at his stuff. Yeah.
I still have somewhere around. I would have to find it. I still have the original corncob skewer that I originally stuck in Louie's head in our first encounter when I broke my leg. I still have that somewhere. It's somewhere around, but it's the original one that's got his blood all over it. And for that alone, I know people would probably want to buy it. I would just have to find it. Okay.
I haven't seen.
I did want to make one note of things. Like we were talking about the ECW thing, and the reason I have the moniker the motherfucking suplex machine is I was always a fan of Taz as I was growing up. So like I just like took a bunch of like his suplexes and made it my style. Like that's what I like. I just like to throw people. That's just kind of my thing.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean,
what about the "No one is safe"? Where did that your catchphrase come from?
It actually just came out of the blue one day. Like when I first started, I just started saying no one is safe, and I just ran with it, and people associated with me. But I've heard a couple people say it now, so I'm just like, maybe I'll just stray away from that, and I'll just keep the motherfucking suplex machine now.
That's what the saying is on the back of the shirt. No one is safe.
Yeah, that was one of my original T-shirts. My face on the front.
Yeah,
with the blood dripping down. If that's what you were talking about, yeah, it's got me, my face on it, blood dripping down, and then the back says "No one's safe."
Can you make some of those? Those are pretty cool. I like that a lot. That's nice.
I mean, I could probably put them back into print. I still have the artwork.
That is good. You know, I wear a lot of the shirts from the Japanese guy. What's his name? Osawa.
Osawa, yeah.
Osawa. And people like those shirts. They might not even know about wrestling, and they're like, "That is pretty cool. What is that?" I'm like, "It's wrestler." They're like, "Oh, where can you get it?" I'm like, "Well, look it," and I'm trying to help them. Like, "Well, look this guy up," and he's got a lot of them. But so, Ron Mathis has cool shirts. So you may not even like wrestling. You might not even like the wrestler. But if a shirt is cool, I'd get it.
Yeah.
Or you could have a really great wrestler, and he's got a weird shirt that you don't like. You're like, you know what I mean?
That's another person I got to be in the ring with that I didn't think I'd be in the ring with was Ron Mathis. Him and Bam Sullivan in the same match. So that was a novel for me too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bam Sullivan is great.
And that was a normal match.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Ron Mathis is good.
Oh, yeah. Mike's a big Mike.
Him and Bobby Beverly, I was there in person for their 1 hour Iron Man death match, and it was phenomenal. I loved every second of that.
I like him. I like to think it. There's a group from Ohio that come. 3 guys. They're pretty good. The other 2 guys. The trailer ladies man guy.
Yeah, I forget the name.
I can't remember all you guys. Yeah, so much.
But yeah, hey, thanks again for being with us. Best of luck this Sunday. King of the
Thank you.
That's going to go to you. 2023 is going to be your year, Anthraxx.
I hope so. I'm definitely trying. Like I'm going all out this Sunday, guaranteed.
You know what? That is going to have views. Because there's no football. The football's done. That's gonna have big views, man. That's gotta be. Who wouldn't want to watch that? You know what I mean? And the women are in it too. Jess Moss in that?
Jess Moss is in the 6-man intergender tag match with Matt and Sawyer Wreck versus Jeff Cannonball, Tara Calloway, and Duncan Aleem. That's on that show. And then the following week is the Angels. Not the following, but the week after that, 2 weeks after that is the Angels of Death.
Okay, I like Jess. We got to do Jess Ma. Tell her we do an interview. We like her because I remember her just hanging around TODs and GCWs, and then next thing you know, I'm like, well, what's she doing in there? She's wrestling.
She's awesome. Jess is awesome. She's
like
awesome. She loves this stuff. Like
yeah,
she's becoming one of the best like known female deathmatch wrestlers. Like she's up there.
You would bring her into a tournament. If you're having a tournament, there's the Big 8 or Big 10 that you would pick from. I want this one, I want that one, Mickey Knuckles, Randy West,
and Jess Moss.
And Jess Moss, yeah, Jess Moss.
Yep.
She needs a shirt.
She can go with the best of them. I'll tell you that. She went toe to toe with Matt twice.
Oh yeah, and Mickey too.
Mickey too. She went with Mickey. Her first round in Angels of Death is her versus Sawyer Wreck. That's going to be crazy.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, God, that's gonna be crazy. Sawyer Wreck. All right, we're excited.
But Anthraxx, thanks again. We'll see you in the ring Sunday. No ring. We'll see you in the No Ring Deathmatch show Sunday. Thank you for being on. Best of luck.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Anthraxx. Wow, man. Bro, I just met you. Requested each other last night. This was the last sudden thing here to happen, I want to thank you for stepping in and taking this place, man. I love you, bro. Man, great match, man. I wish you nothing but the best success in this business. Come here, man.
Let's say your goodbyes. That's what? Goodbyes. Saying his
I got the cash in the bag, stadium packed. Born a rock star in this life, gonna live it up on the attack. Baby, I'm bad. I just wanna get caught up in this life. I'm crazy, I'm mad. Doing no cap. Only God wants you, better go live it up. Cash in the bag, stadium packed. Baby, I'm bad.
Yeah.
Baby, I'm bad.
I just wanna stay bad, stay mad, chip on my shoulder cause they treat me like an outcast. I ain't gonna take that, stay back, I'll be swinging hard till the hits come in all caps. I ain't gonna lay back, pray that someone's gonna help me, ain't nobody like that. I ain't gonna wait, that's all fact, give me one shot and I'll never get the throne back. I'm sick of being cautious, I'ma go cause something, can't stop this. I'ma steal everybody's lane, call it shoplift. Sick of hearing everyone complain when they thoughtless. Taste the pain, it's like candy canes. It makes me go change into a better frame, into a better name. Society's insane, we all live for fame, yeah. Cash in the bag, stadium.